maybe. Hot. There we go. We'll just give everything a second to breathe because it's January. Snowstorms going across the United States. It's like snowpocalypse everywhere, it seems like, right? But makes
Yeah,
for some good football, man. Good football, bad internet, but some good football, Tom.
yeah, it's funny. I mean, everywhere except here. I'm telling you, it's a little bit cold here, but the weather's been great. It's like 50 degrees and sunny here today, so I'm not going to
Wow.
complain.
Not gonna complain because that's what we do not do that ever here on this show. We might be critical, right? We might yell and scream at each other, but we don't complain. We solve problems. We're gonna try to solve some of these coaching problems here on tonight's MHI. Before we do that, what's going on, Broncos country? How are you tonight? Wednesday night. It's MHI, 6 p.m. Mountain. Sorry, we're a little late, right? Those internet issues. That's my bad right here. But Tom, playoff football. What a weekend. What a 3-day weekend that it was. And the Broncos find themselves once again on the outside looking in. But man, playoff football, there's really nothing like it. Did you enjoy the games? Talk to me a little bit about the NFL playoffs and where you're at with them right now.
I didn't really enjoy them because they weren't very good games. Most of them were just butt whippings, like, I did enjoy seeing some teams that lose. I was hoping the Chiefs would lose as well, but they didn't. But yeah, I mean, it's always fun to watch football. Don't get me wrong. Love watching football, but yeah, it's a bummer to not see the Broncos in it for the 100th year in a row or whatever year it is at this point. I'm losing track, but yeah, it's fun to watch playoff football, and it's interesting to see the teams that you're expecting to win that they just lay an egg out there, like the Cowboys. I mean, they just laid an egg. It's so weird.
Are we surprised though? I
No.
literally asked my wife before the Cowboys game. I'm like, honey, I'm thinking about putting a little cheddar on this one because the Cowboys, they always choke. Are they going to choke this week? And I decided, yes, they were. Was very happy with that one. But no, you're right. I mean, it's tough when you're a member of Broncos country. We're on the outside looking in. But I gotta say, I see some signs here. I see some vulnerabilities, especially in Kansas City, in the AFC specifically. And it excites me a little bit, right? Because I start thinking about the potential of the 2024 season. What's the offseason going to look like? What's the draft going to look like? What's the coaching staff going to look like? We're going to preview that here tonight on MHI as the New Orleans Saints, they cleaned house a little bit today, Tom. They fired I think at least 3 guys I saw from Adam Schefter. And these 3 guys on their positions, well, they've got connections with Sean Payton. And we're going to talk about that and whether or not we're going to see some of these familiar faces over there. But can I just say, I think we should all be rooting for the Detroit Lions. I mean, I was a Sean Payton guy, Dan Campbell, right? Can I secretly somehow take credit for Dan Campbell's success because I like Sean Payton? I mean, who doesn't like the Detroit Lions right now? They're a fascinating story. They're a team that you have to root for. Tom, are you in on the Detroit Lions? Because I am.
I hope they win. I mean, for 2 reasons. Why? Well, Dan Campbell looks like he should be driving a truck, not coaching a football team, which is fun to every time I see him on the sideline. I'm like, he's like two missing teeth away from being a truck driver. I know insult the truck drivers, but that's what you imagine.
Coach could be a barroom brawler also, right? He obviously takes great care of himself. He's a big dude, but you're right. He doesn't fit the mold, Tom. Is that why we like him?
Yeah, I that's why I like him. Plus, at the same time, I mean, you got to feel a little bit for Detroit Lions fans. I mean, it's been years since they've had any sort of real success. It's been years since they won a playoff game. And I mean, you got to go back to 1957 from there. That's how long it's been since they've had any meaningful wins in the playoffs, right? And now here they are. They're on the doorstep of maybe going to the NFC Championship game, which is pretty cool for Lions fans.
Man, Buccaneers, Lions, that one's going to be good. Baker Mayfield, who saw that one coming, right? The Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford trade, Baker Mayfield. This truly is the league of parity. So while it's frustrating right now, Broncos country, I'm going to talk to you about why you should be optimistic later in the show as well, because there were improvements. They were tangible. I have them written down. These aren't opinions. These are actual statistics that show improvement. And you never know. I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this far in the divisional playoffs after Tom Brady, First time since 1998, 1999 that a Brady or a Manning is not in the NFL, Tom. Sign me up. It is the League of Parody. Speaking of sign me up for David and all of his support and all of his love on these MHH airwaves. Buckham, MHH for life, Denver Broncos for life. David, I know you're disappointed about the record. So was I. I was at 10-7. David, I think you were 11 or 12, if memory serves. But damn it, there was reason. There's reason for hope. There's reason for expectation. And I said it last week. I'm excited for Sean Payton to see how he remedies this offense, to see how he soothes this team, to see how he restructures in general. But I got to be honest, Tom, I started thinking, what if I put my Thomas Hall MHI hat on? And I'm going to get a little critical of Sean Payton. The biggest thing that I can be critical of, Coach, right now, guys, Vance Joseph. I am not so sure that Vance Joseph is the right guy to be defensive coordinator in 2024, but I don't see him going anywhere. I think if that was going to happen, it would have happened by now. You've got guys, gals available, filling vacancies, interviewing. I don't think Vance Joseph is going anywhere, and that has me concerned because that's a Sean Payton decision times 2.
Yeah, I don't like that decision either. And you know, I remember the days when 8 wins was a huge disappointment, and now people are like, "Oh, 8 wins, we're building on something." It's just like, "Oh man, this is really down bad." But there's a few decisions that Sean Payton's made or is not making now that kind of make me scratch my head. And one of them is the fact that he's going to probably keep Vance Joseph, whose defense had a nice little run, but that was it. He's been pretty lackluster, to say the least, from my perspective. I do think had the Saints fired Dennis Allen, our guy Jeremy Shawn predicted a long time ago, I think he probably would have brought him in. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe he'll stick with Vance Joseph another year.
Let's get on social media. Per source, Tom's breaking news, everybody. Oh, my gosh. David Kilgore coming in here. David, thank you so much. A very generous 1999 super. Appreciate you so much. Thanks for stopping by MHI. Do you guys think that Justin Jefferson to Denver, those rumors are legit? Do you think that the Justin Jefferson Broncos rumors are legit? Tom, I can't say that maybe I've just been away from the Twitter machine for a couple of days. You know, we all have family stuff and a life going on and things like that. Maybe I'm just a little late to the party on this one, but David's starting to make me wonder. I mean, Tom, Justin Jefferson to the Denver Broncos, what do you know?
I don't know much. I haven't heard those rumors, but I mean, what are they going to trade with? You know, what are they going to, if they're going to trade, or they think that he's going to come out in free agency? What are they going to spend to get him? I mean, they don't have the money nor the draft picks to really make that type of big move like that. So it kind of seems like it's not really legitimate. It's somebody just speculating that it would be nice to have Justin Jefferson in Denver.
Speculating Denver media? No, we don't do that here. No, David, get at us in the comments. We'll give you another shout out, man. Let us know where you heard that, because if that has some legs, if it's a report, hell, even if it's entertaining, I at least want to read it, take a peek at it. David, I will tell you this, right? The worst kept secret is that the Cleveland Browns wanted Jerry Jeudy, and I still think they want Jerry Jeudy. Let's get the deal done, Coach. I mean, Look, I'm a Sean Payton guy, right? I do think he's the right man, but let's be critical of Sean Payton. Why did you not move him before Halloween, before the deadline? Tom, I came on here. I was bitching about it then. I'm bitching about it now. It's just like, man, he is not the catalyst. For whatever reason, Coach has a soft spot in his heart. I think Cortland Sutton is probably the easier mark to move. But yeah, David, this one's tough, man, just because I see where you're going with this, because Tom has been on this all season, and he's exactly right. This is a talentless team. There is not a boatload of talent at playmaking positions. Talent, I mean football talent, not route running talent, not college football talent. I'm talking dogs that are going to go out there and they're going to win you football games. We need improvements at wide receiver. Marvin Mims, he was a nice addition to the wide receiver core, Pro Bowl returner. He needs to take a big step. He was drafted to play wide receiver, not just be a Pro Bowl returner, Tom. And I'm excited to see what the future looks like with Marvin Mims. But Cortland Sutton, he's getting a little long in the tooth. He has injury histories. Tim Patrick, is he ever going to come back and be the same receiver that we once loved and want to just cheer for? I'm not so sure. We have to separate the guy from the player, right? They're all good guys. They're the best thing ever, whatever we have to say. Don't always meet your heroes, something that we preach. But Cortland Sutton's been a good dude. If a team called about him, should the Broncos trade him? Yes.
Yep.
Yes, because it is time to get new talent, Tom. You've been screaming it for a year.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think part of the reason why they didn't trade Jerry Jeudy is they weren't going to get enough that they wanted for him. So they think that maybe there might be a possibility that someone gets desperate before the draft and trades for him or something like that. So that may be why he didn't go, before the draft trade deadline. But you're right. There's going to be several people moved in trades. Potential anyway, I should say. I think it's not just wide receivers. I think you're looking at others as well, just because they need to get younger. They have to go into this draft and come away with good players to turn the ship around. And they can't do it with these aging veterans that, they hopefully can get something for now. So I think they're going to move several players, and I would not be surprised to see Sutton and Jeudy go, but I think Jeudy is the main piece that they'll move. I think they're going to move him before they move Sutton.
It's going to be interesting. It's the offseason for the Denver Broncos. That started, right? Coach should start coming back in the building soon. Said last week he wanted to take a week off. Well, it's been about a week. So I would imagine that coach is back or close to being back, or at least figuring out what that plan is once emotions cool down. One thing, the temperatures are cool, right? We're talking about cooling down. It's been snowy. It's been weather that I don't necessarily want to cook in. I don't necessarily want to go out in. Well, that's why we make Little Caesars, our friends, the official pizza sponsor of the NFL, part of our game day. Guys, this Sunday, it's the game, the first game, the biggest game that I'm looking forward to. Maybe not the first, but it's Chiefs versus Bills. Little Caesars is going to have my back, my family. We don't have to cook. We don't have to clean up. Head on over to Little Caesars. And guys, if you order online during the Pizza pregame, 1 hour before, 3 hours after NFL kickoffs, plus all day on Sunday, you can get ready for some football, get ready for some fun.
Yeah, and choose your favorite Little Caesars pizza or pick your own toppings that you crave. Either way, you're a winner. And, the nice thing about Little Caesars, you can, they're inexpensive enough. You could try different things and see which one you like. So give it a try. Just see which toppings you really love. That's the great thing about Little Caesars. And speaking of winning, everyone scores with convenient delivery or in-store pizza portal pickup. So grab some friends and enjoy a few slices during these playoff games.
Friends in football, 'tis the season. 'Tis the season for some social media hunting, as Monica is weighing in and keeping us on our toes. Thank you so much for the love and stopping by MHI, Monica. We really appreciate it. Hey guys, did y'all see Russell Wilson's post to fan about toe-tapped Cortland Sutton? Russell said 2023 was fun and 2024 is about to be even better. Is Russell Wilson staying with the Denver Broncos?
No. I just don't see how he and Sean Payton can coexist. I think the thing with Russell Wilson is he's super positive all the time. He's not going to come out and say, oh, 2023 was terrible. I'm not going to be around 2024. He keeps that positive attitude, but I just don't, I don't know how they can coexist, especially with the contract that he has. I just don't think that it's a match and he's going to be moving on and the Broncos are going to be moving on. It's just that's the writing on the wall. I just don't see how those fences can be mended. I don't see how Sean Payton can trust that he can run the offense that Sean Payton wants to run. There's all these other things that are going on, plus the fact that he was benched because Jarrett Stidham was a better chance of winning. That's another thing that you have to throw out there, which I don't believe, by the way, but I do, that's another hurdle. So there's just so many things going on. I don't think he's staying unless for some reason he's willing to be second fiddle and just stick around in Denver because Peyton's going to go out and try and find somebody that he really wants.
Listen, Sean Payton doesn't like Russ and Russ doesn't like Sean. And you know what? That's all right. Last time I checked, we're all adults. Last time I checked, this is the NFL. It's the grown folk business, whatever I got to say. That's all right. And look, there's the old saying, right? My guy CB loves to say it. You can't put the toothpaste back into the tube. And that is exactly the case for the Denver Broncos with Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. I think Russ has a future as a politician. I really do. The way he handles himself, the way he's smart and maneuvers his PR game. Russ understands not only football, but he understands the business behind it. So I went to Russ's social media right now, and I'm looking at what you're talking about, and he's retweeting a tweet basically asking, giving props rather to Cortland Sutton, saying this was my favorite Cortland Sutton moment. And it was the double toe tap that Monica's referencing in Buffalo. Play of the year, hands down, right? By the way, play of the year. Can we just, I know the award ceremony's coming up right before the Super Bowl. I don't know what we got to do to get that man an award, but that was an insane catch. Monica, look, Russ knows what he's doing here. All right. Russ is trying to stay on the NFL radar any way that he can. Can you blame him? He's a businessman. He's trying to figure out what he's going to be doing next year in 2024. A lot of people are wondering what Mike Tomlin's going to be doing in 2024. The Steelers have been picked as a Russ possible destination landing point. And if you head on over to milehighhuddle.com, there's a story up right now about the Vikings being a potential suitor as well. Russ is trying to stay in the conversation. Russ is trying to let owners and coaches remember that he's there, that he's an option. What's going to happen with the Dallas Cowboys? Dak Prescott, what's his future look like? I even scratched my head this morning at someone asking me, hey, Dak for Russ, would you do it? And normally I would have said no. Now I'm kind of wondering, well, options are limited, I suppose. I would definitely consider that one, kick the tires down the road. I mean, so many things are happening because it's the musical chairs season of the NFL right now. Coaching vacancies, trade potential suitors, those conversations happen. They're illegal, but they happen, as you know, Tom. And David Kilgore weighing in here before 99 Super. The Denver Post said that Wilson, Judy, and a second-round pick is going to get Justin Jefferson. David, I didn't realize that the Denver Post was in the room with Sean Payton, and I'm just going to say that was probably speculation. It is airtight down there. And anyone that says that it's not and they're getting information from Sean Payton or George Payton or per source, they're lying to you because Sean is not going to play his hand. He's paranoid. He's Mike Shanahan-esque, Tom. He's not just going to go out and talk to the team-friendly media and say, hey, guys, let's just go ahead and throw it out there. I know George has some boys in Minnesota still. We want that Jefferson guy, only the best wide receiver in the league, by the way. Let's start that conversation through the media now. Malarkey. That's not happening. David, I feel you, man. And I love the support and I love where you're trying to go. You have to improve the wide receiver position. Justin Jefferson is not coming to the Denver Broncos. I hate to say.
Yeah, and why would they trade him? I mean, they've got the 5th-year option on him anyway, which isn't, I mean, it is expensive, but, for a talent like him, you keep him around for another year and then you make the decision. I guess if you thought you weren't going to keep Justin Jefferson, you're like, we're not going to give him a contract. We're going to let him walk. Maybe you think about it, but that's the problem though, is now you got a $19 million cap hit that you don't have any space to really absorb if you trade away, unless Russell Wilson, that you can trade that contract away, which I don't know anybody that's going to take on his contract. So it's all speculation. I don't think there's any teeth to it, but heck yeah, I'd take Justin Jefferson in Denver in a heartbeat if they could make a trade for him for sure.
Well, and who's throwing him the ball, guys? We got to figure that one out here, and Scott's in the air and he's exactly right. He's saying, dude, 2 first-round picks to get the Vikings to even pick up the phone. I mean, to keep the electric bill on for that cell phone burner for those illegal phone calls, right? We all remember cell phone burners. We all use those right? We don't remember cell phone burners. BK coming in here, 999 Super. A lot of people keep bringing up the quarterback position, defensive line, and offensive line, which the Broncos need, but we are very weak at linebacker. Look at the teams left in the playoffs. Most of them have great linebackers that can cover and have speed. BK is in the foxhole with me, Tom, because as you know, I am a sucker for linebackers. I love them every year. I want them every first round, second round. I want them all. I want all the linebackers, baby. I've never met a linebacker that I don't love. It drives me absolutely crazy when you have linebackers in your backyard, serviceable guys, Pro Bowl guys. I don't know. Logan Wilson, he comes to mind from Wyoming. He's not a Pro Bowl guy, but Chad Muma's having a nice early start to his career in Jacksonville, another Wyoming guy. Andrew Wingard, safety, right? I mean, like, you get this local talent here that the Broncos just, that scouting department hasn't utilized. And this goes back to Josh Allen, who we're going to watch beat the Kansas City Chiefs this Sunday in Buffalo. Look, you're exactly right, BK, and get at Nick Kendall, my guy, Nick Kendall, because he used to have to talk me off the ledge because I get a little ridiculous, right, with my linebacker love. And you're exactly right, though, BK. I think linebacker is one of the most valuable positions in all of the defense, especially if they have the X's and O's and the preparation up here. They've got that green dot on their helmet. They are truly the quarterback of the D. Instantly think back to the classics, Tom. Manning v. Lewis. I mean, those type of matchups instantly give me goosebumps. And the Broncos, they could definitely utilize an athletic linebacker. I know. Alex Singleton, tackling machine. Josie Jewell, best guy ever. But there's a lot of athleticism left to be desired. And I like Drew Sanders as much as you do. Linebacker, should the Broncos upgrade?
Well, if you want to hear an expert talk about linebackers, go to Legends of Mile High playlist, go back to my early ones and listen to Carl Mecklenburg talk about what he likes in a linebacker, an inside linebacker. And then you're going to get
that guy doesn't know anything about linebacker.
That's
Tom.
Right.
What are you talking about?
But from my perspective, yes, they need a linebacker, but what they really, really need is not to have to go out and get one. They need Drew Sanders to make that big leap in his sophomore year. I don't know if he can. I haven't really cared for his read and react ability. I like his athleticism, but they went out and they invested in him. That's what the Broncos really need, is for him to step up, Singleton to play like he is, but have that athleticism in Drew Sanders, and then the following year maybe make a replacement for Singleton. But Drew Sanders has got to make a big leap next year because the team doesn't have enough draft picks. They can't go out and get a linebacker that's going to make a huge difference. They need their young guys to step up next year if they're going to have a solid team.
Well, and I'm worried they're going to screw Drew Sanders up, if I'm being honest. What do I mean by that? Oh, we're thin at edge. We're thin at pass rusher. He can rush the passer. Let's make him a pass rusher, i.e. Baron Browning. And folks, I'm here to tell you, I liked Baron Browning, the linebacker, a lot. And that's not to say he's not a successful edge rusher, but linebackers, Broncos have to upgrade. Speaking of upgrades, guys, it is truly a new year, new starts, and you can take care of you and your health. Enter Factor. Get started on your resolutions with Factor. So if you're ready for the new year, Factor has your back. Factor's ready to eat meal delivery, takes the stress out of meal planning, and sets you up for success in this new year. You skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, you get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan, and veggie, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions.
Yeah, and skip the stress of meal prepping with Factor. Choose more than 35 weekly flavor-packed, fresh, never frozen meals that support a healthy lifestyle and meet your meal preferences, and delivered right to your door and ready to eat in 2 minutes. This January, get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door, ready in 2 minutes. No prep, no mess. Join Mile High Huddle in making Factor a way of life 365 days a year.
Boom, guys, head on over to factormeals.com/huddle50 and use our code. That's right, huddle50 to get 50% off. One more time, that's code huddle50 at factormeals.com/huddle50 to get that 50% off. And guys, we're bringing it full circle here on MHI, 6 p.m. every Wednesday night. You could find Tom, Scott, and yours truly. If you'd like to reach out to Tom, please do so on X at Thomas Hall NFL. If you'd like to reach out to Scott, that's at Scout Kennedy. Yours truly at Luke Patterson LP. And here's one of our guys, Phil McLaughlin. What's up, buddy? Hopefully you're enjoying these playoffs, man. You're the straw that stirs the drink, as Chad likes to say, man. You've been so humble in all of your support, and we really appreciate it. Good evening, Thomas, Luke, and Deacon Scott. We need to get rid of Vance Joseph. I'm not sold on hiring or firing the OC? Do you think Payton needs help with play calling? Let's draft the best available at 12. Hashtag Buckham. A lot to unpack there, Phil, and you bring us to our point. The Saints cleaned house today, firing former offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael. And Pete Carmichael was previously employed by one Sean Payton. Tom, we know that the NFL is kind of a good old boy business. There's one thing I do know in this life. It's sometimes not always what you know, but who you know. What do you know about offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael?
Well, he came to the Saints with Sean Payton in 2006, so they've had a long history, and he's been with the Saints ever since. He took over after Doug Marrone left in 2009 as the offensive coordinator and didn't miss a beat. They were number one in offense in both yards and points, and then in 2008, when he took over, they were number one in both yards and points again, and kept that offensive scheme going. So, I mean, he's got a lot of familiarity with them. He also really got his start under Marty Schottenheimer, who I know he had his playoff struggles, a heck of a good coach. So he's got a heck of a good pedigree and a lot of history with Sean Payton. I don't know if he's going to, bring him in and make him the offensive coordinator and say, you know what, Joe Lombardi, you're gone. But he might bring him in as some sort of offensive assistant or assistant head coach, something to help him with the game planning and things like that. Because, Sean Payton does the play calling, but I think the offense could have been better. So I think Sean Payton probably thinks the same thing. So if he can go get his buddy and bring him in, he may very well do it.
Go get his buddy. I like that. No, you start to wonder. I mean, because you look at the offensive staff, and sometimes you don't plan for these sorts of things. And if all of a sudden your friend, your pal, Tom, all of a sudden, you're a free agent, you're sitting out there, I need you. I know that you're good at this type of skill, and maybe you're an upgrade from the current guy that I have. And that makes me want to change my mind. Make no mistake. Sean Payton not only has the power to do so, but he has the freedom to do so. He is truly supported by this ownership. And I know we're feeling frustrated. I know we're upset. I know we're a little jealous, Broncos country, that we are not in the playoffs this year, but there have been improvements under Sean Payton. This is the league of parity. I think you can see a dramatic shift. But one thing I take a lot of pride and peace and excitement in is that we do not have a meddling owner like one Jerry Jones who continues to get in his own team's way. The Walton Penner ownership group, led by Greg Penner and Kerry Walton Penner, have been, what I can tell, esteemed owners. They've been spending all kinds of money left and right. They want to improve the team. They want to improve the stadium. They want to improve the city. They want to improve damn near everything, but they're looking for an ROI. The Broncos, they don't care that the Broncos have 5 or 6 draft picks. They don't care that what the cap space is right now. They want to win. And come hell or high water, Sean Payton has to find a quarterback. I think that he's going to figure out a way to maneuver and draft one. I think he's going to climb the boards. I have no clue who he's gonna go get. It's a little early for all that, right? And anybody who tells you, oh, Sean Payton's looking at this guy, yeah, he is, because I think he's probably looking at every guy right now, Tom. We don't need to go breaking news or doing anything silly like that. But when you just look at this team that has finished 1-5, 1-5, 1-5 the last 3 years, and then finally they get in 3-3 this AFC West, which I said would be a major improvement, and I predicted on these airwaves. That's baby steps, right? Those are huge things, Tom. Not good enough, don't get me wrong, but there's plenty of room to see that there's optimism, but Sean also got him over a little bit of some baby humps the past year.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely some improvement that you can look at. The problem is I think they're taking a step back before they can move forward next season, because there's just going to be so many holes on this team, and they're going to have to rely on so many young players, just because there's so many people that are going to be leaving and so many people they're going to have to trade in order to fix the salary cap situation that they're in. So from my perspective, it might be a step back, but one thing is for certain that you said, he's got to find a young quarterback that they can build around and get this thing turned around, because they can't keep putting a Band-Aid on it. They go out and get Jimmy Garoppolo, heaven forbid, and try and squeak by for a while. They need to make an investment in the quarterback position and get younger across the board to prepare for the future. And hopefully that future turns around quickly because, this is a not for long league. And if he's got 2 losing seasons in a row, people are going to start to wonder, okay, is Sean Payton really the guy that can do this?
Yeah, when you look at Sean as a whole, right? Last year wasn't good enough, but he's got a total winning percentage of, I think, 0.62, right? So the guy knows how to win historically, but I don't think the league has passed him by. I think he's got plenty of things that he needs to improve on, and it's going to be curious to see how he improves those specific areas, whether or not he hires some new coaches. We know new players are definitely going to be coming in. We have an idea of some of the players that are going out. But it's early, right? It's really early. Sean hasn't even eclipsed the 1-year mark in being in Denver, and he'll be the first to tell you. Stu McPeak coming in here, a very generous 1999. Thank you, Stu. Hopefully your New Year's starting off well, brother. You're always welcome and always so generous with your time and your support. Hi, all. I had the Denver Broncos at 9-8 with the first winning season since Super Bowl 50. Go MHH. Stu, we were close, right? We're close. I was with 10-7. Tom, remind me, what was your official prediction?
I was at 10-7 because I thought they would split with the Raiders. I thought they would be able to split with the Raiders, and they didn't do it. And that
I hate those guys.
Yeah, they lost to them twice, and that was it. No winning record.
No, Stu, I hear you. But here, Stu, how about this? A winning record at home for the first time since 2019. That's right. The Denver Broncos went 5-4, just barely. But that is progress, Tom, and I'm being silly. I'm being a little facetious about it, but look, it's progress. Is it the progress that I want? No. Should we throw a parade? Absolutely not. But when you just look at 2022, they finished 4-4. 2021, 4-5. 2020, 2-6. In 2019, 5-3. I mean, so the first winning season since 2019, we all questioned the Marvin Mims pick. Look at him. He's a Pro Bowl returner now. They played meaningful football games in December. That hasn't happened in years. They went 3-3 in the AFC West. That hasn't happened since 2019. I mean, these are facts. These aren't to be disputed. This isn't my opinion. These are facts. Now, they're not good enough. I'm not just hanging my hat on them, and I'm just going to continue to circulate that on X. It's just one of these things where you have to quantify your positives and you have to quantify your negatives to understand where you're going. Just like Lawrence Rivera is always understanding where he's going. He's going straight to the point, and he keeps me in check. And he's saying, "What's up, guys? How you doing today?" The Super Bowl logo colors were red and purple at the beginning of the season. I think it'll be a San Fran v. Ravens repeat. Lawrence, you gave me goosebumps because I had this exact same thought today with the exact same teams. I've seen the little TikTok clips of the conspiracy theories that Lawrence is talking about, Tom, and I'm not sure if you're aware in Broncos country, maybe you haven't seen this, but every year when they come out with the Super Bowl graphics of whatever Roman numerical representation needs to be on the display, there's 2-3 different colors, and fans are suggesting that the league is fixed. We know who's going to the Super Bowl before it happens. Tom, have you heard that rumor? And what do you make of it? Because I got to say, it makes me want to go, ha, no way. But then I scratch my head and I look at the history, and I'm a sucker for good conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard the NFL scripted rumors and all that. It seems too much for me when you got a bunch of people out there that are out there to win. They're not going to follow a script. You got, hundreds of players out there who, need to make their own mark in this league. And so I don't really prescribe that it's scripted, but it is a kind of a cool coincidence that if those two teams do make it, that the colors were a precursor to that. So it's kind of fun to think about. But yeah, I mean, I'm rooting actually for a Bills Lions game. So that's what I'm rooting for.
Damn, that would be good. Bills Lions. Yeah, I'm rooting for the Lions. Man, I got a soft spot for San Fran. I really do. Don't we all? If we're here in Broncos country,
I don't.
No,
not after a 55-10 beating in the Super Bowl back in the day. I had to sit
talking about
I don't
stuff,
like the 49ers at all. I don't care if Shanahan's their coach or not.
No, we're okay with them because the Shanahans are the coach. As soon as Shanahan moves on, then I'm not okay with
I'm
him
holding a
anymore. But
grudge still, man.
all
I
right.
still can't get
All
over
right.
it.
Holding the grudge. I like it. I don't know. I feel like we're flipping a little bit. I'm trying to be a lot more optimistic
Yeah,
this
you
year.
are.
You're being a lot more like me. You're being critical. You're getting after it. And I love it. That's why we make it work here every Wednesday night here on MHI. Broncos country, you are absolutely lighting the chat on fire here. And I wanted to bring up Scott's point here because this is missed by so many folks, I feel like, Tom, and I see you nodding your head, and I feel like you would agree. Scott just weighing in saying, guys, we need to remember that mock drafts almost always overvalue quarterbacks. And not only do mock drafts overvalue them, the reason that mock drafts do overvalue them is because teams overvalue these quarterbacks, Tom. We see it time and time again. You run it through your own analytics that you work on. You know the probability and the statistic of hitting on a quarterback in the first round from 1 all the way to 32. But it is such a hard position to fill. It's the most important position of in all of sports that guys reach, deservingly so, and they should. Sometimes they should reach, sometimes they shouldn't. But we know this is going to happen this year, right? That's why I think you have 1,000,000 quarterbacks in the first round of this draft. It happens every year. I think it needs to be said over and over again. It does not matter if they're a first round talent. Guys always get overly picked or overdrafted, especially in the first round.
Yeah, quarterback and cornerback as well. I think they get overdrafted. The numbers kind of show they get overdrafted too. So yeah, I mean, but the thing is if there's a quarterback there that the Broncos like, they need to take it. That's all there is to it. I mean, don't wait around because that is a huge need at a position that they have to get right. And if they can't, then they got to go back to the drawing board and try and get another one. They have to get it right. So if one's there that they really like, don't pass up on them. You know, just take them, be smart about it, and see if you can hit on that quarterback in the first round. I mean, it's not easy. Even in the first round, it's not easy, but you got to take a swing.
To quote Peyton Manning, there's nothing easy out there, and especially when you're picking a quarterback. Lawrence, a good question, Tom, and I think that this is a good question that should be asked because, right, I just want to get rid of Russ like there's no ramifications. Right. I just want to get rid of him and pretend it was all a bad dream. And obviously that can't happen when he is locked to such a monster deal. So Lawrence asking a good question. Tom, what would happen if the Broncos go over the cap and just try to pay off Russ and take the fine? Is that something that's even possible? Can they cook the books? I mean, is there any way around this Russell Wilson deal? What would you do to rip the Band-Aid off?
Yeah, well, they're doing it. They're going to release him and try and spread it over 2 seasons. But no, I mean, you could and take a fine and probably lose if they think you did it, maliciously. They'd probably hit you for some draft picks, which the Broncos need desperately. So I think it's I think there's other ways to do it without doing it, in a illegal way, not really a criminal way, but against the rules of the NFL. There's other ways to do it, but they're going to have to take the hit no matter what. It's whether they decide that they're going to try and sneak around the rules and do it, they're still going to take a hit from the cap, and it's going to happen. So they're going to have to figure out a way around it, and there's some ways to do it, but it's going to be painful.
It's going to be painful, and hopefully this next season is not painful as Broncos country is looking for a turnaround. Tom, I'm checking social media here as we were waiting on my internet to go live on this very show, but it's breaking this last hour, right? I think breaking news from Adam Schefter. The Dallas Cowboys are not expected to make a head coaching change. Whoa. Mike McCarthy is returning for the 2024 season per Adam Schefter.
Wow.
I'm a little surprised. I thought if he was going to be fired, I thought it would have happened yesterday. But Jerry Jones sticking with Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott. Tom, what do you make of the mess that's the Dallas Cowboys? I mean, I enjoy the hell out of it. It doesn't bother me one damn bit.
Yeah.
But it's a mess down there in Cowboys Nation, right? How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, I'm happy, because I hold a grudge. So, back in the early days in 77 when they beat the Broncos in the Super Bowl, I'm holding the grudge. So I'm happy that it's a mess. But I'm surprised because Jerry Jones is a bit of a loose cannon kind of person. I thought he would just be, you know what, we're getting rid of Mike McCarthy. We're bringing in a big name. We're going to go get somebody, you know, big. And so it is a surprise. So maybe he's changing a little bit, but I still think it's a bad move because McCarthy has proven that he's not capable of taking the Cowboys to the promised land where they need to go. Right. So
he's silly, man. He's a goofy guy. Like, I think he knows football, but he's talking out of his rear end all the time. That's one of my problems with him. And what do I mean by that? He fires Kellen Moore. I don't like Kellen Moore either.
I don't know.
No love lost with Kellen Moore. I think he's very overrated. I thought he was overrated then. I think he's overrated now. He fires Kellen Moore because Kellen Moore doesn't run the ball enough. And then he goes out there this year and runs the ball significantly less than Kellen Moore, and it keeps his job after 12-win seasons, times 3, and the Cowboys still can't get over the playoff hump. I mean, it's silly. What this tells me, let's read between the lines a little bit. Let's speculate, because it's fun to do that here in the offseason. It's sports media. It's sports entertainment. Let's speculate a little bit. This tells me that Bill Belichick didn't answer the phone for Jerry Jones. One, he's like,
probably.
No, I'm not doing that. First of all, I haven't operated with a GM in over 25 years. And if I were going to consider, it would not be with owner Jerry Jones. I am a little surprised. Here's what I thought was going to happen, Tom. I thought this was Jim Harbaugh's job.
Yeah.
Because I would have loved that disaster. All right. I really felt that. Doesn't it seem it's the same story over and over with this Jim Harbaugh guy, where he's breaking some college rules every year, and then he threatens to go to the NFL, has this standoff between the NCAA and college football, and uses the NFL as leverage, and then comes back with a bigger deal. That's the same report we're getting right now.
Yeah.
But I thought the Harbaugh Jerry Jones deal, I thought they deserved each other, and I would have loved to see that mess. But the Mike McCarthy returning mess is what we get in 2024.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. The difference though with Harbaugh is he won the national title, so maybe that's his motivation to skip out and go get back to the NFL. But yeah, he wouldn't have went to the Cowboys, I don't think, because he wouldn't have had enough control, and I think he's going to be looking for full control, and you know, and I don't think he's going to settle for anything less. He's going to get a big payday and get what he wants. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Cowboys again next year, because they'll probably go to the playoffs again, and we'll see what this decision brings.
It's interesting to watch two teams that I don't like, and I'm talking about the Cowboys and the Eagles, and to see that the Eagles choked and screwed up too, because then you get to kind of watch the fan bases both shut the hell up for a little while, right? And you're like, you guys both see, it sucks, doesn't it? Welcome. That's what happened with the Eagles and the Cowboys. Look at this guy. We know this guy. What's up, KB? How you doing, bud? Hopefully your year is starting off well. Always thank you for your service. Of the quarterbacks in the draft, which one don't you want Denver to select? Daniels, Penix, Nix, or McCarthy, and why? I'm a Jaden Daniels guy right now. I like him a lot. That does not exclude me from the other options. Penix, I have some reservations. Nix as well. I think McCarthy is riding the national championship high, and why not? Look, these guys all have talent. That's why these guys are all going to be drafted in the first round. Whether or not they're first-round talents, that is debatable, and that's what we're about to find out here in the offseason as the college gauntlet, the NFL prospect grading gauntlet begins to start in Mobile and down in Dallas-Fort Worth with the Shrine. I mean, all these sorts of things are right around the corner, KB, and we're going to start to have some answers. I would challenge you to ask this question instead of which one don't I want? Which one is most likely to fit Sean Payton's system? And I heard an interesting question on Denver radio today, bopping around the Mile High City. And that question was this from a former Denver Bronco. Which quarterback in the playoffs right now do you think most fits Sean Payton's system, Tom?
Yeah, well, let me just answer this real quick. And the only for the first round, the only reservation I have is Penix, just but injuries, because injuries is something that can make a first round pick a bust no matter what his talent is quickly. So that's the reservations I have with Penix. Later rounds, maybe take a flyer on him. I think Dak Prescott would fit fine with Sean Payton. I think he's accurate. He's he's a high volume type passer, just like Drew Brees was. I think Dak Prescott would fit right in with Sean Payton. So I doubt he's going to become available.
But I'll do you one better. How about How about Brock Purdy?
Yeah, another one. Absolutely.
How about Brock Purdy, right? I mean, that kind of checks those boxes. He's mobile enough to get out of trouble. He's brave enough to climb the pocket. He has excellent feet. He has a very quick processor.
Yep.
When you look at those quarterbacks, KB, that's tough. That's tough to grade, right? Trying to find the next Brock Purdy, the next Dak Prescott. Man, it's tough. I can't give you my absolute guy that I want in Denver right now, but that guy, I like Jaden Daniels a lot, man. I do. I don't know if I just have a crush on him. I'm not in love with him yet. I'm not anywhere close to saying that the Broncos should give up the haul, including Pat Surtain, that they're likely going to have to do to climb up that board. But it's exciting to have the conversation, right? I think I finally calmed down a little bit. Last week, I brought that up. It's tough. It's excruciating to still be in the hunt for a quarterback after we swore, Tom, damn it, we swore that Russ was it. I was thrilled. We were all happy. I know you might have had the little reservations because you're a calm guy and all that. But look, it just, dang, we're back in it. But it's also exciting. You have an ownership group that doesn't mind spending money. You have a head coach who's been known to make a bold decision or two. You think he gives a gee whiz about what anybody in Broncos country thinks about him? He doesn't even care what the rest of the NFL, his peers, think about him. He doesn't care if you like his decision in the draft. He doesn't care if you like his decision in the offseason. But Broncos country, I'll tell you what, they're going to hold coach accountable. And if coach does not get this quarterback now, not in 2025, now in 2024, there will be hell to pay, and Sean will be on his way out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's got to turn it around soon, and it starts with the quarterback because that's been the problem. Well, among other things, lack of talent across the roster for the most part. But really, I mean, they've been looking for a quarterback for a long time, and they haven't been able to do it. It wasn't a fit with Russell Wilson, so it's up to Sean Payton now to go find one. And I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. So we'll see.
KB coming back. Thanks, Ken. Are you saying these quarterbacks are Christian Ponder and EJ Manuel? Jaden Daniels is like 12 pounds. Yeah, KB, I am. Exactly. Because, right, these guys are always, we see it every year. I mean, I'll say this, though, KB. Sometimes guys fool us. And one guy I'm talking about, Ken, and I've been fooled. I don't know what to think of him. Baker Mayfield. Who is that guy in Tampa right now? Who's that guy? Like Conor McGregor, right? Who the fuck is that guy? But it's one of these things, man, where Baker Mayfield, when I wrote him off, when the rest of the NFL wrote him off, I called him a first-round bust. Here he is. He's got the Buccaneers going to play the Lions in the divisional NFC round of the playoffs. Sometimes they go full circle. Sometimes they become journeymen. Sometimes the sun shines on a dog's you know what. I don't know, Tom. It's tough. It's so tough to figure out what to make of these quarterbacks, like KB's point right here, Christian Ponder and EJ Manuel.
Yeah, I mean, Christian Ponder, I mean, he's drafted by the Minnesota Vikings back in the day.
George Payton guy.
George Payton was there when that happened. So, yeah, you never know. Both of those guys were overdrafted from my perspective. And as far as Baker Mayfield goes, I mean, he's having a great season, but you got these quarterbacks that trick people into thinking, oh, yeah, they're going to be great. There's a reason why he's on his sixth team, right? There's a reason why he has bounced around the league. He's having a good year. He could parlay that into a few more good years. I'm not saying that he's
get paid?
Terrible. He could, but there's, like I said, there's a reason why he's on his sixth team. And so is this his good year? And then he goes back to what he kind of was before, or is he going to be able
How about this? Put you on the hot seat right now. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield do not come to an agreement. Baker Mayfield is on the free agent market. Should Sean Payton pick up the phone?
Yeah, you should pick up the phone, but he can't afford him. He's going to be looking for a lot more based on this year. What are you going to pay him with? I mean, if he comes with a vet minimum, sure, take a shot at him, but he's going to be looking for a big cash, a cash in. And what are the Broncos going to pay him with? I mean, they're going to have over $40 million tied up in the quarterback position next year. You're going to go out and give him, try and get another huge contract for another quarterback who you don't know that much about yet, whether or not they're going to be good next year or not. I don't know. It's a tough one. Should at least ask, talk to him though.
Yeah, I think you're tempered in your approach with that answer. I think you need to explore it, right? You gotta you gotta look and turn over every rock, because if you're too afraid to look and you get gun shy, then you really set the franchise back. And I think that's
Yeah.
something that we saw with John Elway, guys. I mean, at a certain point, John, I think, became his own worst enemy. And John Elway, the quarterback, thought he was John Elway, the quarterback whisperer, and he never let it. He never forgave himself for Paxton Lynch, and that made him gun shy, and he lost confidence. And I think the franchise suffered because of it. Now, when you're the Duke, you can kind of get away with those things because you also help bring the Broncos to relevance and to glory. Phil McLaughlin bringing in some glory here. Tom, this is the trick of the whole damn draft. What quarterback in the 6th round is the next Tom Brady?
Nobody knows that. Nobody knows. Tom Brady was pure luck. They got him in the 6th round. He ended up being a heck of a lot better than anybody could have imagined. In the last 10 years, there's not been an impact quarterback taken in the 6th round. And, even a starting caliber type quarterback, it's about an 8 to 9, 0.089 probability that you're going to find one. So it's pure luck. It was pure luck. And I don't know who it would be, and nobody knows. We won't know until it happens.
Yeah, I don't know. You start looking at prospects that have some talent that, man, I mean, it's a gamble. It's a total gamble. I think of the Florida State kid, Travis. I mean, total gamble. Tom Brady-esque? No. Leary out of Kentucky, I think, comes to mind. These are going to be guys that get picked. They're going to be overdrafted too, right? We were just giving Scott his flowers for bringing out the statement that people need to realize. In mock drafts, quarterbacks are always overvalued, just like in real life. They're always overvalued. That's why the mocks reject them there, folks. KB coming back in, man. Thank you, Ken. You've been so active and supportive, man. I really appreciate these debates and fun conversation with you, man. Baker Mayfield is Johnny Manziel with no baggage. That's what I said for years, Ken. I was right there in that foxhole with you, but I left you there by yourself because I think Baker has grown up a little bit. And I'm not just talking about the winning. I saw some little meme floating around Facebook or something that had said Baker Mayfield was out there in Carolina taking scout team defensive line reps, and it showed him with his hand in the dirt last year. And here he is, a quarterback of an NFC division playoff team. I think Baker has always been a guy that the locker rooms loved. Johnny Manziel wasn't that guy. Guys liked winning with Johnny, but guys didn't like being around Johnny. Or I think Baker's different. I know that he became a dad, I think, this last year, right? And I think that changes a man. I know it changes a man. So I think he's grown up a little bit. I also think in terms of the on the field play, Baker's a whole hell of a lot tougher than Johnny. I mean, he's sometimes borderline reckless, but I got to give Baker his flowers right now. I'm not saying he's the best thing ever, but man, he sure impressed me in his career turnaround, because I think if Baker doesn't win that playoff game against the Philadelphia Eagles, he's bouncing around to a 7th team.
Yeah. Well, and I think, Johnny Manziel just didn't care. I think Baker Mayfield cares. I don't think Johnny Manziel gave a hoot about being in the NFL or winning.
And
or
he told you
like,
he didn't. If you watch the Netflix series,
yeah,
he's
he
like,
just
I didn't care.
Baker Mayfield cares. He struggled. He had some issues and struggled, and to play quarterback, and he's kind of put it together, and so that's the big difference. I mean, having the will to go out there and put the work in is huge. Johnny Manziel didn't. Paxton Lynch didn't care. He didn't care to put the work in, and I really think Baker Mayfield does care, and he's put the work in.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Baker's been arrested, right? Like Johnny was kind of in trouble. I know Baker has the same bad boy image, right? He's an undersized quarterback. Maybe even you could say he looks like him a little bit. I don't know. Same haircut. Who knows? But I can go there with you, Ken, because I was saying the same thing, man. Is Johnny Manziel 2.0? He is the farthest thing from it, at least right now. And I'm not going to say he's the best thing ever. I'm not going to say he's the answer to the Broncos problems or even the Buccaneers problems. Hell, I don't know that he can overcome the Lions and what they're doing right now. But I'll tell you this, it's not going to be a blowout in Detroit. I know that for a fact. I think it's going to be a close game. I think you're going to see a Baker Mayfield lead a Tampa Bay Bucks offense that's excited, that's confident, into a lion's den that is hungry to feast on some Buccaneer. And I think you're going to have one hell of a game in Detroit. I'm excited to see Baker Mayfield on the road in that absolute buzzsaw of Ford Field.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I don't know. I mean, I just have my reservations about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they've kind of caught lightning in a bottle for a little bit. How long it's going to last, I don't know. I think the Lions are just a much better team playing at home. You're going to be physical. I mean, the Bucs defense probably will keep them in it for a while, but I don't know. I think the Lions are just a better team, and I think they're going to, kind of knock the Buccaneers down a peg or two and send them packing.
Speaking of this is the most I've talked about Baker Mayfield since he came out of the draft, by the way.
Right.
And I didn't like him then. Just full disclosure, right? I'm saying I like him right now and what he's doing. I didn't like him then. I did not even have a first round grade on Baker Mayfield, if I'm being totally honest. I thought he was a second round guy, but again, that's kind of right. It proves the point a little bit. I mean, teams will overly reach, and Cleveland Browns, they do that all the time. I mean, they do that like we get out of bed and put on socks in the morning. Yeah. So here's the funny thing, though. I wanted to ask you this. Did you see this? And I'm not piling on, right? Because Lord knows I've asked a dumb question in a press conference. Lord knows I've had egg on my face in the media or when talking to a player. But did you hear the reporter today ask the Tampa Bay Bucks head coach, Bowles?
Todd Bowles.
Yeah, coach. Here we go. Scott's got it queued up for us, baby. Here we go. Let it rip, Scott.
Looking forward towards Detroit. The weather has been a factor in some of the playoff games, even for the most prepared teams. Today, it's 13 in Detroit, which doesn't compare to some of the temperatures we tend to drop to. Any special plans to acclimate the team to not only endure, but perform in those kind of frigid temperatures should you face them in Detroit?
You do know we play indoors, right? And they got a dome. No, nothing planned. We're indoors, and we only have to be outside for 20 seconds getting off the bus going under the thing, so we'll be okay.
Yes. Yes. Can I be the first to say that she was lucky that she asked Todd Bowles that? Because could you imagine asking Bill Belichick? Could you imagine asking Sean Payton a question like that? I mean, he kind of gave her the out, but good Lord.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. Scott and I talked about it before we started the show. It's one of those things that you're just like, what exactly? I'm like, what are you talking about? Why would you ask this question? So it's interesting. I've harped on people to do their research. If someone comes on Twitter and says something that's completely nonsense that they haven't done their research, I'm like, I go out of my way to say, please do your research. Like, you're way wrong here. It was just put some effort in,
And it happens, right? I've been wrong. You corrected me recently on a stat. I feel like within the last month, it happens too.
It does happen, but this was
don't
blatant.
dig in. Don't dig in. I mean, right? And yeah, check it out. MHH, baby. Thanks for spending those 30 seconds to formulate the question about the weather, only to show how much research you've done. That's great advanced scouting. Yeah, that's a tough one, man. And the tough thing about it too, right, is like the tone in her voice, because you could tell she's I feel like a veteran journalist, if like based on her confidence and her diction and her tone and just her question, you could tell she was very proud of that question, right? Like she had almost tried to work to formulate that one together, but no, that was tough. And it's crazy, man. The NFL playoffs are going on right now. We've got coaching vacancies. Apparently Dallas is not going to be one of those, so we'll let the rumor mill continue to go. But here in Broncos country, we wonder if some of Sean Payton's assistant coaches that were let go by the New Orleans Saints today, at least former offensive coordinator, wide receivers coach, I think I saw, and maybe one more other offensive assistant, you start to wonder if the guys are going to reunite. It's one of those deals where you truly want your friends around you. You want to build something special, and the Broncos need tons of improvements, and not only at the players, but with the coaches as well.
Well, they have some good young talent in the coaching staff that I really like. And so, I mean, part of me says don't bring the whole gang back together and sacrifice that. But if you want to bring in people you trust to, like, I mean, he brought in, now I'm drawing a blank, the health guru there, that he had in New Orleans.
Dan Dalrymple?
No, he brought in the guy the top guy. I can't remember his. Anyway, you bring in people like that. Bo Lowry. Thank you, Scott. Bo Lowry brought him in. Those are bring him in to help you because you trust them. You're going to make you better, but don't sacrifice some of these young, good coaches that are up and coming. So, if you're not sold on Joe Lombardi being your offensive coordinator, sure, make a change, but don't sacrifice, these young coaches who have a future, and have been really good, like the special teams guys, Christian, the defensive backs coach there. I mean, keep those guys around. But if you trust them and you think it's going to help, why not bring him in?
Well, and I'll say this: I thought Vance would get a look. Maybe I was hoping it, or wishful thinking. Right, Vance could just go away on his own terms, and the Broncos wouldn't be paying him. Real quick, as we start to wrap up MHI on this Wednesday night, who do you like in the playoffs, Tom? Let's go. Just a quick pick 'em. Texans at the Ravens to start our NFL divisional weekend on Saturday at 2:30 p.m. Mountain.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are just going to be too much for the Texans. I know I like what D'Amico Ryans has done down there. They got a good quarterback. They're playing hard. I think that the Ravens just are too much for them.
I had the Ravens, just like our guy Lawrence, because of our conspiracy theory with the Super Bowl logo. But I am going on an upset alert. I like the way CJ Stroud is playing right now. You hardly ever see a quarterback like this, man. And I was wrong on this guy in the draft. I'm another Ohio State guy. Yeah, he can run around. Sure, I've seen this before. I haven't. I have not seen a young guy play like this. I'm super excited to watch him play. It's fun to see these new teams in there, and I'm excited to see what the Ravens can do. They play well in the postseason at home, but I've got an upset alert in this one. Let's give it to the Houston Texans. Tom, how about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions?
Yeah, I got the Lions. Like I said earlier, I think that the Lions are too much for them. I think they're just overmatched, got more talent, and they're playing hard. Both teams are playing hard, but I mean, you can't. People are running through walls for Dan Campbell. So
I want to see Dan Campbell rapping 8 Mile at the end of the Super Bowl with Eminem. All right, so I'm going with the Detroit Lions as well. How about the Green Bay Packers at the San Francisco 49ers?
Yeah, I got the 49ers in that one too. I hate picking the favorites and everything, but I think the Packers they beat the, they had the upset. I just don't know if they have what it takes to have another upset against a very good team. I mean, the 49ers are a very solid, well-coached team.
And a historic matchup, right? Green Bay, San Francisco. Where have we seen this one before? It's some of the classics. How great would it be if it could become an all-time classic and another chapter in that rivalry? I'm with you. San Francisco, man, they're firing on all cylinders right now. I think they're looking really, really good. Green Bay, they're the youngest team right now in the league, if memory serves. So I think Green Bay gets humbled, and then they ultimately have a successful season. Final and the most important game, my favorite game, the game I'm going to be rocking with the Little Caesars with, Kansas City Chiefs at the Buffalo Bills. Tom, who will win this football game?
I really hope it's the Bills, man. I'm so tired of having the Chiefs having any success. And they've missed a couple times. I think they're going to the Bills are actually, I think they're on fire right now. I mean, they've been winning. I think they can pull it off at home. But the problem is I never get what I want. So the Chiefs might pull it. Yes. I'm hoping for the Bills to beat the Chiefs. I want to send them packing.
Yeah, no, shout out to our guy Keith Brugman in the RMSN, man. Really appreciate what you're doing over there and love to show you support, man. So head on over and check Keith's work out. Guys, that is a wrap for us here at MHI tonight. It was such a fun show. I needed it, man. Sometimes life gets tough. Life comes at you, throws you all kinds of curveballs, but Wednesday night helps me. You guys help me. And Tom, Scott, I always have so much damn fun with you. Thank you so much, fellas.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for being here. I know we were late, but that's cool that you guys hung out with us and talked some football. And, we've got big stuff coming up. You got off-season's coming up. We can start hoping again that, the Broncos are going to be saved by something.
They'll get saved. And guys, if you want to grab some merch, head on over to mhhmerch.com, get your swag on, grab yourself an MHI lid. We've got coffee mix, all coffee mugs, shirts, tees, all kinds of fun stuff. Head on over to facebook.com/the Mile High Huddle pod. Give us some support there as well. App Podcast, we try to improve what we do. We love bringing content to you. Let us know how we're doing. Remember to subscribe, like, and share as well. Give Tom a follow at Thomas Hall NFL. Yours truly at Luke Patterson LP. And don't forget Scott on the way out at Scout Kennedy as well. Broncos country, here we go into the divisional playoffs. This is the way.
This is the way.